Hey friends, it's Sam Farkas, back with another 5-minute guitar lesson. As always, these lessons are based on actual questions from actual people while I'm teaching guitar lessons here in Nashville, Tennessee at Green Hills Guitar Studio. Okay, so this week I had a student who was struggling with this idea of what he can play other than the pentatonic scale. And the answer is there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can play. There's not really any rules around this, and the best thing you can do is start to develop language through transcription. However, if you are trapped in pentatonic jail, there's at least one thing you can do that will help you out a little bit, and that is to apply the same pentatonic pattern, but from a different note in the chord you are playing over. Okay, well, this is based on the idea that you have some idea of what the notes in the chord you're playing currently are. So let me give you an example. If we're playing our G major chord, okay, over this, a pretty good choice would be the G major pentatonic scale. You can come up with cool licks in G major pentatonic. Stuff like that. That sounds pretty nice. If you wanted to run the complete scale, it might look like this. This is one octave. Repeats, right? And so on and so forth forever and ever. However, if you want to get a different sound, you can still play the pentatonic scale, but not derived from the G note, not derived from the root of the chord you're playing. You can play the pentatonic scale from the fifth of the chord you're playing. In this case, that would be a D note. Okay, why does this work? Well, I don't know. You don't necessarily have to know why it works unless you just want to. It's probably useful. If you can't articulate why it works, at least just use your ears. That will help. But here's what's going on. If we're starting the pentatonic scale from the fifth, relative to the G chord we're playing over, we have the fifth, the sixth, the major seven. Careful with that one. It can be spicy. So you wouldn't want to apply this over like a dominant chord. This would not work over G7. Well, I say it wouldn't work, but I mean, you could make it work. Major 7, and then A, the 9. So really kind of what you're implying with this scale is a richer G major sound, almost like a G major 9 sound, which is super cool, right? So check this out. Here's G major. That's your old pentatonic stuff. That's kind of like white on white. Sounds like the chord. And then here is D major pentatonic. I did throw an extra note in there. You probably heard it as a C sharp. It's not really part of the G major sound, but it can kind of work, right? It's kind of implying like a Lydian flavor. Okay, so here's one more step in this idea. You probably already know this. If you're playing G major pentatonic, you can play the relative minor, which would be E minor pentatonic. It's the same notes. They are the same notes. There's nothing new when you play E minor pentatonic over G major. You could very well play G major pentatonic. It is the same 5 notes, okay? So that same thing applies to the D major. So if you're playing a pentatonic off the fifth, you could also play that's relative minor, which would be B minor. So you could think of playing the minor pentatonic off of the third, if that's easier to conceive of. So now over G, we can play our B minor stuff. And any blues licks in there would also work. Remember, the more you start to incorporate notes that are outside of the diatonic structures within the chord, all right, that's just a nerd way of saying stuff that is in the key the chords derive from. You have to kind of tread lightly, right? You want to make sure it's musical and sounds good. but you can play anything you want to. There's not a rule here. So next time you go to play over like a G major chord, consider this. You could play G major pentatonic or E minor pentatonic. They are one and the same. It is the same group of notes. Now the language you have in a minor fingering, if you want to conceive of it that way, might make it better. I don't know. You can also play B minor, so minor off of the third, and D major. B major is relative major. So all these are available to you, right? So think about this. Here is E minor / G major pentatonic. Okay, that's still just G major, right? That's white on white. Now we can think about playing B minor pentatonic or D major pentatonic. Might get a little more interesting. Resolving to a G note. Okay, so that's the idea. If you are just playing your pentatonic boxes, that's cool, man. That's like a lot of music you can make. But just know that you can apply that in a different place, and some interesting stuff will happen. But by the way, this concept is just like the tip of the iceberg. Okay, you can apply shapes and structures of things you already know over a different harmonic context and get lots of different stuff. Just use your ear and be creative. It's all out there. Okay. Last thing I'll say, in the case that you're playing over a G minor sound, same thing applies, but playing from the fifth, instead of using a major pentatonic scale, use your minor pentatonic scale. Why? Because you get the fifth, the flat seven, the one, the two, and the four. So you're kind of like implying like maybe this sound, which is cool, or maybe the sound, which is also very cool, right? So minor from the five, cool sound, okay? Major chords, major from the five. Minor chords, minor from the five, in addition to the stuff you already got. Good luck, have fun.